I guess. Hello, everybody. We welcome you to 19 to the Dozen episode 20. You will find out today about an awesome photographer with an awesome Instagram account. Check.this.place. Pavel, Pasha for friends.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Okay.
Thanks for the invitation.
It's my pleasure.
It's my honor.
You're very kind. To be honest, besides the fact that we know each other for a very long time, to me, your feed is really awesome. It
Thanks.
Really takes, it shows to me, first of all, that you hunt for places, and we're going to talk about these wonderful pictures of Pasha. And we will talk about photography in general, I guess, and about traveling. But that's my point. I think your feed is so great, first of all, because you hunt specific places and specific moments of the day or of the light or blah blah. So it really shows that it's not just a picture that anybody can take. There's a lot of work into it. So I guess this is the main topic of today's anniversary episode. There's not a lot of podcasts out there that live to be 20, and I hope we didn't mind scar you with our Halloween special. So here we go.
No, I'm happy, and I hope to make it a little bit even educational, to show people some to explain people some things about photography and how to take photos, when to take photos, some small advices maybe about photos, and always excited to talk about photography. It's my passion, so I'm very, very passionate about photography. It's not my profession,
Okay.
because I have a daytime job, but it's something I love to do. Something that I want to do, and something that inspires me, and I hope to inspire people also with those shots that I'm taking and publishing online. And I want to inspire people to go out and see that there is something out there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's not just going to work, going home, then going back to work, home, but there are so many things in this world to see.
I agree. I like that idea. Okay. So how long were you taking pictures as a hobby?
I guess more than 10 years now, and I started to take photos long time ago, even when I had a analog camera, so it was something like Zenit.
I had my family had Zenit as well.
My dad had old camera. It was not Zenit, it was some other Soviet brand, but that's how I got acquainted to photography. And I remember even going. We had a bathroom where we were switching off the light. We had this red light, and my dad had the equipment to develop photos, so he had all these special
substances that you use for the paper and so on.
Yes.
Okay,
the
cool.
paper,
very
the
nice.
huge thing that zooms in,
magnifier or whatever, right?
And he can actually create zoomed photo out of the wide angle photo, and that's how it started. It was when I was maybe 10, even smaller, maybe 7 years old, long time ago.
So was it for your dad? Was it like his profession? Is he a photographer, or was it also his hobby?
It was his hobby. He's architect.
Oh, okay.
Quite close maybe to photography, but he was taking photos of people, our family, his friends, at some gatherings. Some group photos, and we had albums full of photos always. So it started like this. So I was helping him to develop photos. I started then to take my own photos, and then there was this technology was going on. So there were new types of cameras. I remember we had some automatic, basically, camera that. So I kind of switched from this Soviet thing to something very easy to use. It was just automatic camera.
The auto zoom and the auto rewind the film.
Even without zoom.
Okay.
So you just press the shutter and you got it. Then you basically have 36 photos, or it depends what kind of film you're using. And you go to the shop, give them this. Then after a few days, you get your photos.
Do you still have any photos that you've taken like that? Like
yes.
You do?
We have family albums back in Russia, where I'm from, and many albums full of photos. But mostly it was photos of our family, so it was not really landscape. So that time I was not really traveling and thinking even to take nature for photos. It was mostly people, so mostly family, and then I got another camera. I mean, my dad got another camera, more sophisticated. It was already digital. That's how things were switching to digital, and mostly he was using this camera for his job. So he works in. Basically in architecture, but he's taking photos of old buildings, and then he creates a project how to renovate this building. So he was taking many photos of buildings, and I was helping him to work on these photos, let's say, to put them in computer, work in Photoshop, maybe crop those photos and then prepare them for print, because that time we were still printing photos. No one was really using laptops or tablets to look at those photos. There were no social media like Instagram, so you needed to print everything. And so I was helping him with this. So he was taking photos, I was working on them. And somehow naturally it started, probably from this kind of my hobby, and I started to take my own photos when I started to travel. So it was some trips to St. Petersburg or to Moscow, and I was taking photos of everything because it was very new to me, and I wanted to memorize everything. So I was just taking photos of every corner, buildings, rivers, I don't know, bridges, and so on.
Nice.
Yeah, and then slowly, step by step, new camera, and then with traveling, I got into it even more. Mostly taking photos of buildings and architecture, but then I realized that I really like to take photos of nature.
Okay.
So now I'm mostly doing landscape photography.
Okay.
Specializing in this kind of photography.
Is the you want to talk about the camera now, or you want to talk about the pictures first? Because we can. It's a good introduction, for example, for one of your best pictures, I guess, and also a picture with a story. We will. Okay, let me just. Shall we take them in the order in which we decided to kind of highlight the best ones, or shall we just jump among them? How would you feel better?
Any order. I guess first photos that I send you are one of those that I like most. Yeah. Which is also the ones that I actually the one in the last one, which is on the list, the last one, but. Maybe talk about first photos that you really liked, because what I realized that it's really depends on people's feeling and their opinion. So if I post 4 photos and tell people what's your favorite, it's gonna be completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah, 25% will say this, others this, and this. So it's
to me this one with the it's the Dolomites sunrise. It takes me into like a magical place because you have this morning fog or whatever it is, which is like floating there. Which looks absolutely amazing. And then you have the high peaks, which I don't know what mountains those are because I don't know geography, but you will I guess tell us
they have
about
a name, but I don't remember now. But Dolomites basically.
That's awesome to me, and I wouldn't have said though there would be a sunrise. I would, but it's like the first rays of the sun, like early morning.
Exactly. Huh? Yes. And now you were talking about this photo. I had goosebumps. It's really it's really very like recent. It's very recent, and it's probably, I think it's one of the best sunrises I ever experienced. It's not because there was great light, but I think it's combination. It's a great place. And great conditions. I was very lucky, I think, with conditions that morning. And the thing is that the place is not really easy to reach at sunrise. You can go there during the day because there are funiculars. But it's not easy to be there for sunrise. You really need to wake up really early.
My first question, because I have sometimes troubles waking up, would have been like, what time do you need to? What time did the picture taken? It was like 2 months ago, no?
Or 1 month ago. It was. So
it must have been like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
2 months ago.
Daylight was earlier than now.
Yeah, I think the sunrise was around 6:30.
Okay. So 4 o'clock up or something like that? Yes,
very early. Maybe around 4 o'clock up. Then I remember I had everything planned. I knew where to drive, but there are some things that you cannot predict. So Google led me through some small roads, basically through some villages and forests. So I almost got lost. It was some narrow road just for one car, and I remember I was driving and praying that no one would drive the opposite direction.
Okay.
And then I parked because you cannot go by car to this place. It's quite remote, and they try to preserve nature there. So there is a parking. I parked, and I had to hike 1 hour to the place in the darkness, basically.
Did you know more or less the area where you wanted to place your camera, or it was just like, I need to climb there and I will see? Were you inspecting it the day before or something like that?
Yes, I like to do research. So I like to know where I'm going. But then when you're at the place,
it can vary, of course.
You can decide on spot what kind of angle you would like to use and where to stand. It also depends on conditions on spot. But generally, yes, the whole trip was prepared. So I dreamt about this trip for a long time. I wanted to go to Dolomites for at least 3-4 years.
Okay.
And I did the research. I put all pins on the map where to go, when to go, and it was the first morning when we arrived to Dolomites evening the day before, and I just couldn't wait. I knew that next morning I have to get up and I want to go there because it was one of the places where I really wanted to go. And I knew more or less. I had on the map more or less where to stand. Let's say I saw some other photos, but then of course I changed the position because it was not as good. There were some buildings in the frame that I didn't want to be in the frame and so on. But it takes some time to prepare for sure. And it was great. It was exactly what you were saying, this mist. The atmosphere was changing every minute because first everything is covered in the mist. Next minute you see mountains there on the background. And it was just when sun started to rise. And I think I was lucky also that there were no photographers around, because I saw some other videos from this place and some other photographers posting photos, and normally there are crowds of people there.
Okay.
Crowds, I mean, maybe 20 photographers, but if there is a workshop, they're just standing in line, and it's kind of difficult to go through them, find a good spot.
So you're lucky even like this.
Yes, I was lucky even like this, and I think that made it also very special that there were no people around, and you could hear birds waking up, some cows waking up, and there were llamas even at one of the houses. They had special
they have a llama
place for llamas.
No.
Yes. So it was very, very special, and I think so far it's probably the best sunrise I ever experienced.
Do you, before we go talk about the other ones, did you ever submit your photos to contests and things like this? I know you told me at one point, go on, sorry.
I do it sometimes. I tried, but not as much. Maybe it's something that I need to do more, and I probably should investigate more about awards, because I follow many photographers and I see that they, from time to time, they post some awards that they get. There are many different awards. There are some famous awards like Sony Photography Award, I think. It's probably something that I should consider and should plan more. But so far, I tried a few times. Was not something successful.
Okay. I believe that the Dolomites picture is really, I mean, it is unique in many ways. So now that you mentioned you follow other photographers?
Yes.
Which would be your, give us some examples of, I don't know, Instagram or whatever, where you,
There are American photographers like Chris Burkhardt. He's in California, and he's taking photos of nature, but also he travels to some remote places, and he likes to take photos of ocean, and he is famous for his shots of surfers surfing in Iceland, in the cold waters, of course. So
say his name again,
Chris Burkhardt, if I pronounce it correctly. So him, then there is...
There will be link in description. He will.
Yeah, definitely recommend to follow.
Follow the link in description. Okay.
There is Paul Ziska. He
Czech? Or
no,
Polish,
maybe he has some roots. Yes.
Okay.
But he's Canadian, and he's based in Banff National Park. It's Canadian Rockies. So he is I would say mountain photographer, and he has great shots of mountains and mountain lakes. He's taking photos in very remote places, so he actually can climb. So he's a climber.
Okay.
He even climbs on ice. I don't know how it's called, but basically he has the equipment to climb on ice. So great guy and great photos. He's really specializing on Canadian Rockies.
It must be like really unique photos. I mean, if you combine climbing with photos,
yeah,
you know,
yes.
I mean, a lot of people climb, I guess, but not all of them take photos.
But there are not many photographers, professional photographers, taking photos from that places.
Yeah, from those places, which is awesome. So his stuff should be good as well.
Yeah. And I would mention one more, Martin Rak.
Okay.
He's Czech and very, very famous also for landscape photography. He has great photos, and I think his specialty is that, or maybe not. It's something that is quite unique. I think that he has different vision, different eyes. So he even in the place which looks kind of regular. He can find the angle which you wouldn't see. So something that other people don't see, and he finds these places, and he travels a lot in the Czech Republic. Also, spends a lot of time discovering some unknown places in the known woods, let's say. Yeah, and then actually, when I was talking about him, I realized that there is a number of photographers taking photos at night, and that's maybe what we will talk about. Talk about later.
Yes,
it's another thing that I got into quite recently is the night photography. So it's very specific type of photography. You basically you need to have some equipment for it, but there is a guy. His name is Lukáš Vesely, Czech photographer, and he was one of my inspirations, I think, when I started to do some night photography.
Okay, and now you mean night nature or night skies?
Night sky.
Sky.
Most of the time, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Talking about night sky, let's not jump to that now, but talking about night sky, you have this wonderful picture with the moon here. You guys see it here with the moon between. This is up the castle. This is Vitus, right?
Prague castle.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, this seems like you only had a second. I mean, probably 2-3 minute and a half, right, to get the moon perfectly between the
towers.
The towers. My first question, knowing Prague, is where did you take this picture from? Is it from Petrini?
No, it's actually the opposite side. It's the same side of the river, but it's opposite from the Prague castle. It's side of Letná.
Okay.
And there is a garden between Letná and Prague castle, some small garden. I don't remember this name, but it's from there.
Yes. Now I see that the tower is actually behind the church. So yes, it's from Letná. There is a quite famous pavilion there with the view of bridges, Prague bridges. So it's quite famous spot to take photos of the bridge. I know that
bridges.
Yeah.
And then if you
it's
walk
just
a little
right
bit
under the beer garden.
Exactly. Yes. That's why, Yes. And you just actually I was not really thinking to take photos from there.
Okay.
What I had in mind is a little bit different photo. I had in mind to take photo of the moon with the top of the tower, and there is a golden lion, statue of golden lion on top.
On top.
And what I wanted to do is to align moon and lion.
The lion.
So I wanted this lion to be in the middle of the moon. And the day before, I went to Letná Park, and I tried to find a good spot, because actually there is an application. There are several applications helping photographers to find a good spot and to know where exactly moon or sun will be at any particular time. So you can. There is artificial reality, I think it's called. Basically you just point your phone and camera to some place, and you can see where moon will be, how moon will be moving, sun will be moving.
Augmented reality.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Very
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I went there the day before because the next day was full moon, and I tried to find a good spot for that shot with the lion, and it took me some time, but I found the spot. It was the only possible spot because with the moon it's quite difficult. As you said, the moon is moving quickly, so you have few seconds. I found spots, but it was not very good. It was between trees, and I was not sure that it's gonna work. I went there next morning. It was also very early because it was spring, I think, and It was just before sunrise, and moon was setting at around 5
I thought it was a night shot, this one.
Yeah,
so
it was
towards the morning.
It was early morning, yes. And I was just walking around. Luckily, I had some time before. I arrived earlier, and I found another spot there, and I knew that moon will be passing by between those towers, and I stayed there, and I took the shot, and so it was unexpected. And I shared the photo. I remember that I took the photo. I went to the office, and before starting to work, I worked on the photo, and I shared it in the morning. And I remember there was some media buzz about full moon.
Okay.
And somehow recently many websites write about full moon, and every full moon has a name suddenly, and so there was some buzz around full moon, and I just decided not to wait. I published the photo on my Instagram, and I was surprised that several accounts immediately reshared it. I remember that it was shared by expats on their Facebook.
Nice.
And some Prague pages on Facebook. So it was great to see that people like the shot. I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, you do. You, as you said in the beginning, it's to inspire people and to show beauty. So
to go out.
I guess that's the nicest validation. So if somebody loves us, please reshare our, do another YouTube channel and reshare our stuff.
Like and share.
Reshare it. Yeah. So, but if you are a photographer that you just see for the first time 19 to the dozen, well, you might better, press the subscribe button. I'm not really sure. I think it's under you. I don't know. Just you find it. Anyway, so yes, that is an awesome picture as well. So again, his Instagram is Czech place.
And Czech like Czech Republic.
Czech like Czech Republic. There's before we go to the night shots, because you have one of the ones with Pasha. There is this one. I don't even know where this place is. Is the
rock formations. It's in US.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It's West Coast. Another
Arizona desert thing.
It's basically I think this one is in Utah. Staircase
Escalante National Monument.
Yes. I think it's either Arizona or Utah. But the whole region is full of wonders there. So I just love West Coast. I traveled to West Coast few times, and they have so many national parks. Of course, the most famous are Yosemite National Park, Zion National Park, Yellowstone, but there are many smaller parks, and this was taken at Staircase Escalante, and it's very remote also. You need to drive gravel road for like 1 hour to reach that place, and we were completely alone there. It was just before sunset. It was nice afternoon, nice weather. So again, not so easy, but actually it's with many places. Many great places are not so easy to reach, and I think it changes also your perspective, changes your feeling about that place. So if it's more remote and you're there alone, then you have completely different opinion. I think when you're among crowds of people, maybe you don't notice many things.
That is true. Yes, indeed. I mean, But when do you find this kind of touristic landmarks, like without people? Usually in the morning, right? I mean, early morning somehow.
So that's the thing. If you want to be more or less alone with less people, the only advice is go early in the morning, or stay after sunset. Let's say, because In the morning, obvious, because people like to wake up, have their coffee, breakfast in their hotels. Let's say if it's some national park, and they start to drive maybe at 8, maybe at 9. So then hikes start to get really busy after 9. And if you want to be really alone, then just go before crowds. That's the advice. Plus, you will have completely different conditions, and many photographers like to take photos at sunset, sunrise, because of the colors, because of the different light. Light is softer. There is a thing called golden hour. It's basically 1 hour or sometimes half an hour before sunrise and after sunrise. So basically 1 hour. More or less during sunrise and sunset, when colors change and pop up in the sky.
Okay.
So most of photographers take photos at this time, but it doesn't mean that you don't need to take photos during the day, because you can find great light, great conditions anytime. So sometimes, especially if it's storm or interesting clouds, you have a great possibility to take nice photos. If it's a waterfall, let's say, it's even better to take photos in cloudy weather, because you don't have the sun reflections in the water.
Right.
So when it's cloudy, when it's not so good conditions for other types of photos, I usually go somewhere to take photos of waterfalls. It's another thing that I love is water. So Czech Republic has many nice waterfalls in mountains, in Krušné, Jizerské hory, Krušné hory, Šumava. Yeah, so many places, and it's cool during the day if it's overcast weather, cloudy weather, to take photos of waterfalls.
Because theoretically the clouds like filter a little bit of the intensity of the light,
they
right?
filter.
So then you see details, and indeed the colors would be different, right?
So it's called natural filter.
Natural filter, yeah.
Yes, but then you have all types of filters in photography. You have polarized filter that can also remove reflections. You have a neutral density filter, which blocks the light, basically. So if you want to take long exposure photos with when water is like silky, smooth, you need the longer exposure to take this kind of photos, and you use filter. So you need to block some light and let camera take longer exposure.
By this, you kind of looks like the water is
silky,
flowing,
yes,
right?
Yes,
because then
Yes. So when you use a filter in front of your lens, it's when you can take longer exposure photos. There are photos with darkened top. There are filters with darkened top of the filter. So if you take a photo of in the mountains, for example, when sky is light and mountain is dark, sometimes it's great to use filter which darkens the sky. So
you can see more of the details of the mountain somehow.
Yeah, in one photo you have a lighter mountain, and you don't overexpose sky.
The sky.
Yeah, or if you don't have this kind of filter, you can use HDR technique. So you can take 3 photos, lighter, normal, brighter, darker, and you can combine them.
Is that what HDR does?
That's the HDR.
Thank you for finally explaining to me after 20 years of this technology existing.
Yeah.
Okay. So so it basically it just combines the...
And the current applications are great with it. So post-production really developed in the past 5 years probably. So in photography, we use these applications a lot. So one thing is to take just a photo, but it's different when you take photo with old cameras. Actually, they're great. They have a different atmosphere, so you don't need to use any applications probably in post-production. But with nowadays cameras, post-production is probably up to 50% of the success.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing is to take photo, but it's gonna be probably blank. Kind of the colors will not be so intense, but it's not because of your skills, but it's just because how camera sees it, how the sensor sees it. So you need to apply some adjustments.
Do you? Maybe now it's a good moment to talk. Is this like what you're using now, or?
Yes, that's what I'm using now. So it's.
Wait, let me go there and try to zoom in or something. Who knows? Well, I need to turn this. Hello, people. Okay. Yeah, I'm zooming.
Yeah, so it's Canon EOS R, one of the newest cameras by Canon. I would say it's semi-professional. It's closer to a professional camera, but it's not too professional. Let's say not too expensive. Also, it's a good budget camera, which is great technical qualities. So I'm very happy with it, and it's so-called mirrorless camera. It doesn't have a mirror there. It has only sensor, and that's the new reality. That's how technology develops. So now everyone is switching to mirrorless. Starting from Sony, they started this technology, and then Nikon, Canon.
Okay.
That's the future.
What is mirrorless? I shouldn't have done that. I kind of zoom. It will be so weird, that zoom. Anyway, so what is mirrorless?
Yeah, so inside inside there is no mirror. I wouldn't probably explain it perfectly, but it's lighter. It has all the same techniques as the camera with mirror, but it's mirrorless.
It just doesn't have a mirror. I think you mean inside
the camera. Next to the sensor. Next to the sensor. So then of course you can use.
So then where is isn't that the place where the image is initially captured on that thing?
It's captured on sensor, but
so now
now it's also captured. There is a sensor inside.
Okay.
Yeah, but there between lens and sensor there is no mirror. No mirror.
Okay.
Yeah, so it goes directly. The light goes directly to the sensor. I hope I'm explaining.
Yeah. Okay. So is this would be an all-purpose camera, or it would be just and then the how do you call it, the lens, right? It would be like specifically for landscape, because it goes to like really
it's
far.
It's all-purpose camera, so you can take any kind of photos with this camera. You can take portraits. You can take wedding photos. I don't know, night photos.
Both Russians and Romanians like their wedding photos. That's true. Yeah.
And then it depends what kind of lens you use.
Okay.
So there are different lenses. There is a big variety of lenses, and then you just need to choose your preferred lens. And it depends on what kind of photography you're doing. So and this one is great. It's 24 to 105 millimeters lens, and it has a. It's a wide angle lens on 24 millimeters, and then it goes all the way to 105. So you can find a good frame, and instead of having two lenses, you have it in one, but it has a very good quality.
Is this the one from the Dolomites?
I would say yes. Yes, I think that's the one. I have another lens which is more wide angle, but in Dolomites it was enough to use this one. I didn't really need two wide angle lens, so that's the one I use most of the time now. So it's my favorite lens. I have 3 more, I would say, that I'm using, and I usually take them with me. So that's that makes my backpack really heavy.
Another question that just popped up: how much weight do you carry in these trips?
I I don't know exactly, but I guess between 10-15 kilos maybe, because the thing is I don't sleep in tent, so I don't need to carry with me sleeping bag, tent, food, all this stuff that some other photographers carry with them when they travel, because I just like my comfort. I guess I like to sleep somewhere, to spend night and have shower, maybe breakfast. So I don't need to carry all this stuff, but I carry lenses, I carry tripod, some other equipment that I need. It can be quite heavy, especially if in the mountains. If you go up and the elevation gain is sometimes 700 meters, 1 kilometer elevation. So then I sweat a lot.
Yeah, it's good exercise as well.
It is, yes.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Good for legs.
This one. Since we were talking about how magical light is, this also, I think, is this full day, and it's just the trees that filter or is it also a sunrise?
This was after sunrise. It was morning, but we were just lucky with the conditions, and there was some mist in the forest, and it stayed, because normally mist disappears very quickly in the morning. But that day mist stayed, and I think it's probably stayed for the whole afternoon. It created this nice effect how sun goes through the mist, and I was first taking photos just with the trees and mist, but actually this photo was taken on iPhone.
This is iPhone feature?
Yes.
Wow.
It was like a quick snapshot, and I think I already had my camera in the backpack, and I was already satisfied with photos that I took before, and suddenly, luckily I had a model with me, so he was standing there, and he said, "Okay, take a photo of me with the phone," and I took photo, and turned out to be probably the best from that that trip. It's Czech Republic. It's a place called Krušné hory. It's on the north, on the border with Germany.
Oh, really? Because when you were telling me about climbing to the Dolomites and with the, I experienced that kind of a very small road, narrow road. Also next to the border with Germany, there is a huge forest. In the middle of the forest, it's probably, I was speaking with Pragoholic the other episode, it's probably the only place I didn't have like a GSM reception in. Yeah. And I think there is a castle, I think it's called Luzec, maybe Luzec Zamek or something like that. And it's like a total remote place. It's outside of the village. You have to drive through a forest like 2-3 kilometers outside the village to get there, and it's again like that kind of a very narrow one-car road. But like in Romania it would be gravel. Here it's like asphalt. I mean it's really well done. But thumbs up for Czech Republic for that. But yeah, I mean there are some places. Have you ever been to Romania in your travels?
No, not yet.
Okay.
It's on my list for sure.
I can recommend the mountains if you do this kind of things. I mean that's you just like pick a month. During the summer would be nicer, because if you want to climb mountains and so on, it's better weather, because we have quite high Carpathians, over 2,000 meters, I think.
That's
2,400 is the highest.
I would love to, and I would combine.
But the most
mountains
nice
and
ones
castles.
are the let's say Apuseni, that Transylvania part with it's really wonderful.
With the famous castle.
Yeah. There is
Dracula.
at least 3 or 4 that we are now selling, all of them like Dracula castles, because Romania is just starting to understand tourism.
To attract tourists. Yes.
No, but to be honest, there's a lot of people I meet in Prague that actually traveled in the last, let's say, 10 years to Romania, and most of them that are Czechs would be like people that either go biking or cycling, and they like this kind of totally mountainy, let's say, not a lot of civilization, just because really in some parts of Transylvania, I mean, you can even like walk 3, 4, 5 kilometers on a steep of a hill, let's say, and not meet anyone or no house or something like that. You know, like there are really pristine parts of the forest.
That's the beauty of those remote places. Yeah. But if you if you take Russia, for example, there are so many great places, but they're super difficult to reach. And I know some photographers from there, and they post on Instagram some stories how they actually reach those places, and they use those SUVs. They're stuck in the mud, and they use some tractors to
pull them out.
To pull them. So it's quite extreme. Here, in Europe at least, the infrastructure is quite
developed. Czech Republic is amazing with this. I mean, you can
in Czech Republic. What is great that you have a mappy.cz, and you have all those routes, hiking trails on the maps. So they are colored. So you have a red trail, you have, for example, blue, green, and you can look on the map and plan it. And then in the forest, when you're hiking, you see those colors painted.
Theoretically,
on
as I was growing up, we had this as well. I'm not really sure if they. I mean, I'm sure we have this kind of trails as well. They are marked. You're not going to necessarily get lost in Romanian mountains.
But Czech Republic is great.
Yes, Czech Republic has it everywhere.
It's one of the best.
I mean, there's a bike line from Smíchov to Krušné, So 30 kilometers outside of Prague, there's a bike highway, let's call it like that. It goes through the forest. It passes next to the river. It intersects the railway for several times. So if you're tired, you can just hop your bike on the train. It's amazing. You gotta check out Krušné and Prague and everything else.
And I always think about those people who actually mark those trails. So there also I always imagine some people with good physique, like especially in the mountains when they need to go there quite often to check if everything is fine. There is no fallen tree. Plus they repaint those markers. And I always imagine, I never met those people, but I always imagine that they spend a lot of time in nature.
Good. Let's go to your most recent, let's say, passion. Because one of the selected pictures we will talk about. I mean, we decided to talk about this night shot with the night sky. Actually,
yes.
This should also. Oh, Votice. This
is Czech Republic. This is Czech Republic. So, few words about this. It's taken. First of all, it's taken at night. So, and that's how I got into night photography or astrophotography even. It happened, I think, maybe 5 years ago when I traveled to Alps in Austria. It was Dachstein. And I'm from the city, so I was born in the city, and I almost didn't spend much time in villages. Maybe when I was a kid, I spent summer in the village, but I was never really out there at night. So I almost never experienced the night sky. How beautiful it is. And most of us live in cities, and there is a thing called light pollution.
Okay, yes.
So it's basically those all light coming from buildings, streets, and you don't see the sky really. You see the most bright stars at night. There is even a special scale for it. So, for example, in Prague, you probably will see maybe up to 100 stars if you count all of them. Maybe a bit more, but more or less. But if you go at night in mountains, when there are no villages around, there is no light, you will see completely different sky, and that's how I got really amazed. I think I went just to take some photos in the evening after dinner, next to a hotel basically, but it was some small village next to Dachstein mountain, and I was waiting, just taking photos, and then I pointed my camera on Milky Way.
Okay.
Because I knew that there is a Milky Way, but I was never really. I've never seen Milky Way with my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So there I could see that there is some line of like a brighter stars or some nebulas. They're called
Nebulas, yeah.
Yeah. So I see that it's somewhere there. So I pointed my camera there with a long exposure, something like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I took photo, and I looked on my screen, and I was so surprised. I was really amazed that you can see so many stars.
Actually, this is one of the situations in which the camera would see better than the eye.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah. That's camera. Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm frustrated the opposite way. I see something nice in Prague, and I walk with my iPhone, and then I take a picture, and obviously it totally looks different. I mean,
and at night it's complete.
So you get the reverse. Huh?
Yeah, you get the reverse. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, camera has a different sensor. It's and our eye is not developed to see at night. And camera sees a lot, and it captures all this light in, let's say, 30 seconds.
So you have
open sensor for 30 seconds, let's say, and all the light coming from those stars.
You don't move the camera then, the camera is on a tripod.
On a tripod, yes.
You have the longest exposure time ever.
You have another mode where you can have longer, but the thing is that stars are moving.
Yeah.
I mean, the Earth is moving.
Yes,
but
of course.
For us, stars are moving.
Yes.
So if you have
Earth is not flat.
Earth
is
flat,
round,
yes.
And it's basically a rock floating in the sky. But to us, to our reference point, of course, everything else moves, right?
Yeah, but
but the idea is, does it move that fast? In which in 30 seconds you would blur the stars?
No, not if you have a wide angle lens with a lot of stars there. So in 30 seconds is exactly probably the maximum time before stars start to when you start to see them moving.
Moving, yeah.
When you take 30-second exposure, you will see as many stars as your camera will show you. So and that's how I got amazed. I started to learn more, just started to search for some techniques, how to take photos at night, and gradually I learned more and more, and I invested in the thing called Star Tracker.
Right.
I guess we will. We will show it somewhere there.
Okay.
Also, how this equipment looks like, because it's quite heavy, and I didn't take it with me. But it's basically a thing that you put on a tripod, which inside there is a motor, and the thing is rotating.
Wow, so it matches the rotation of Earth or the star, whatever.
Yes.
The idea is that you can have longer exposure time without moving
stars, without stars moving. Exactly.
I understand it.
Yeah, so you put this thing on tripod, and then you put camera on this thing, so camera starts to rotate.
So you can have exposure of hours then.
You can have. You can have
maybe not hours.
You don't need hours, but you at least few minutes. It already will capture more light. It will capture some colors even, because in 30 seconds camera cannot capture some colors. But if you take 5 minutes exposure, let's say, you can already see that stars will have different colors. That even moon, which we see just gray. If you combine 100 photos of moon taken with some longer exposures, you will see that moon has colors.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are some...
Yeah, because there's the
minerals,
red moon or whatever, super moon, and this is...
It just there are some minerals on the surface, which some are like bluish, some are like yellowish, and
This is I watch some space documentaries, and this is how I understand that they actually know what is the, atmosphere of a planet. It's from the part of the wavelength of the Earth that comes back to the telescope.
Yeah.
So this is how they know. If it's within this spectrum, then it means that there is, I don't know what, chemical substance and so on. And that's why we see colors in space, because they are not all made of the same thing. Not all planets are equal, are created equal. Yeah. But this is how I understand it. So then in photography, it works almost you're having like a miniature space telescope, man. Actually, so with this kind of things.
And that's an interesting thing. But you can take photos of night sky without that thing. But when you have that thing, you have much more possibilities. So, and coming back to that photo, it's actually composite. So it's called composite when you combine two photos or more in one. So this was two photos combined, and the thing is with night sky, it's more like artistic type of photography. So even photographers, when they post photos, they usually say that it's a composite. So it's very difficult to take a photo like this in a one shot. It's impossible, because if you take with a star tracker, you take a nice photo of the sky, the person in that shot will be moving. I mean, it will be blurred because your camera is moving. So you have to do some combination of photos. So that's with this photo I took photo of the person and a foreground in one shot. It was before or after sunset. So there are some colors. And then I waited in the field, and I took a photo of the sky with the star tracker. So you have all these nice colors.
You also sent me one of the Andromeda, I think, the Andromeda picture, right?
So
Is that published or not?
Not on my official Instagram channel, because I was not really publishing there photos of deep sky. So it's another thing.
That's totally different than that's why I want to mention
photography.
But can we show it here? We will show it. We will show it here.
Yeah. So that's Andromeda. So it's a galaxy. It's the closest galaxy to the Earth. And
it's part of the Milky Way, I think.
No.
It's just another.
So Milky Way is one galaxy.
Okay.
Some educational content is coming.
Yes. So educational content.
Yeah.
So
Milky Way is our galaxy.
Yes.
And Andromeda is the closest galaxy to Milky
our
Way.
Galaxy.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So it's past that our frontier of but that's our solar system. I'm such an idiot.
Yeah. So there is solar system, then there is our galaxy, and
far away.
Many kilometers, like billions of kilometers away, there is Andromeda. But that's the closest galaxy that you can actually see with your naked eye. So if you really focus in being somewhere with a dark sky, if you really focus, you can see something blurry there. And that's Andromeda. So when you know where to look, you that it's not a star, but something blurry in the sky. So that's Andromeda. And to take this kind of photo, you need a zoom lens, and you need a star tracker, preferably.
So a lens would
like 400. I think for this one I used 400 millimeters lens. So it's like 3 of these.
Is that the biggest you can get, or are there like totally science fiction?
There are bigger lenses, even like twice bigger. But you need also some other qualities of lens, that it has to be with f-stop. Basically, it has to be lens taken as much light as possible, and usually there are even bigger lenses, but they don't take as much light. So 400 is perfect, and for Andromeda you don't really need bigger, because Andromeda is already quite big for 400 lens, so it's completely enough. And for this photo, I think I combined 100 photos in one, because that's another thing with the deep sky. The more photos you take, the better quality image it is, because if you take just one photo, it looks completely different, and there is so much noise because it's at night and camera just cannot produce a very good photo and cannot capture too much light. So taking hundreds of photos, you basically eliminate all noise, and you will have much more detailed and sharp photo of your object. So with Andromeda, you can. There is no limit. You can take thousands of photos. You can spend.
Do they have
many
to
nights.
be within many nights? But then, yeah, but and then okay.
And then
Because I
them.
guess in each night, its position on the sky would change because Earth is moving, right? But then it would still be the same. Probably there's a huge difference between like spring and autumn, but more or less within
I think you
a
cannot
couple of
see
days
Andromeda in winter. I think maybe it's either not visible or close to the horizon, but in summer it's perfect conditions, perfect time to take photos of, for example, Andromeda. And the thing is with astrophotography, there are so many details, so many things. First of all, you need to learn how to operate this huge thing, and then you need to have a computer next to it. You need to align it to polar star.
Okay.
You need to find polar star. You need to perfectly align it, like millimeters alignment. So it has to be completely stable. Then you put camera on, and then you need to have a clear night. You need to have night without moon, because moon brings some light.
Light from the sun.
Yeah.
It reflects the...
Yeah. So you need to have a completely dark night to have more details. And that's why...
So basically not a full moon night, but actually towards the opposite of the
new moon,
lunar
new moon
cycle.
Night. Yes.
Because that's when you have less of light reflected by the moon.
That's why it's so difficult, this night photography, that first of all you're waiting for the right night. Then you need to have right conditions, no clouds, no, of course, no clouds, basically no storm. And then you need to have all this equipment, and you need to know how to operate this equipment. So I'm still developing it, and I have 3 photos of Andromeda. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, and this year. And if I combine them, I see that I'm progressing. But I'm not. I'm not there yet. I'm not not as good as I want to be. But it's actually a cool thing that you learn and you see the progress. That's amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. I was meaning to ask, I don't know if I asked or not, do you still sometimes because now it's fully digital, blah, blah, but do you still sometimes, I don't know, have a roll of film and a Zenith somewhere, do you still use them, or you don't see yourself going back to paper and that kind of photography?
Currently, I'm not using. I have some friends who use this kind of cameras. I think it's great. I love the photos.
I see a lot of craziness around it. That's why I'm...
I see more and more. It's kind of trendy now, I think, on Instagram also. But maybe if I had a camera, I would probably take some shots. But I think it's great camera for taking photos of people. It brings another kind of perspective, atmosphere. As I'm not really into this kind of photography. I think for taking photos of nature, I think digital cameras are perfect. If you're a wedding photographer, you can use both. You can combine, but I think from what I know and from what I see, landscape photography, digital cameras are the best.
Just like a ballpark range of amount for example, if you want to go into astro. What budget should you prepare, before to have all these kind of things, more or less?
You can find a good camera in every budget niche. So you can buy nice camera for 400 euro, let's say.
10,000 crowns you can buy a camera.
You can buy already a semi-professional camera, quite good camera. But I think it's also it's a lot about you, and it's a lot about photographer. It's about the person behind the camera who takes photos. So you can take very nice photos with a low budget camera, and at the same time you can have a super expensive camera and take bad photos.
Totally suck. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. But somewhere in the middle, I think around probably €1,000, you can already find a very good camera. And then you need to invest in lens
tracker and lenses. Yeah.
Yes. So you need to have lens for night photography. You need to have specific lens. But it can be budget lens also. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little bit jealous on your Instagram account. Of course, the contents are different. Of course, there is work put into this as well. So, did you explode to thousands and thousands of followers when you started it, or was it a process?
It was a process.
Okay.
And it was gradual. And I think what really helps when you share something, you tag some other people, and then they reshare it, so they spread the word basically. So stories work great. With
stories.
So indeed. I guess if you want to, I cannot say that I'm professional in growing my Instagram account because still I have 1,000 followers. So it's not 10,000, not 100,000. It's growing.
It's
slowly.
Actually 1,137 today. So that's not bad.
So it's somewhere growing slowly, but I don't call myself professional in this. Hashtags are another things. With location, it's quite tricky. With nature photographers, I see the trend that, and I actually agree with this, that really photographers, they don't really like to tag exactly the right location.
So other photographers would not.
They don't want many people going there, because with Instagram, many places became this kind of mecca, and you always see crowds there. And I guess photographers want to also protect these places. They want to have it for themselves sometimes, and that's cool. I like it also, and I also started to use like general text. Let's say I put Dolomites. I don't put and then if you want to find this place, you will find. You do some research. It just you spend some time. Actually, it's good because you spend some time. You find another places where you can travel. Maybe even better places.
True.
Yeah, and it took me also some time to find some locations which I liked on Instagram. I saw some other photographers posted great photos, and I couldn't find it. For example, last weekend I was searching for a tree which I liked. I knew the forest where it was taken, but there was some very specific tree there, and it's cool in autumn with fallen leaves, and it's kind of weird shaped tree. I put it in stories, I think, recently, but I found it. But the fun was the process, how to search for this tree, and I found many other compositions in that forest just by searching for some specific tree. And so the thing is that it's you can take great photos in the process of searching, but you don't need to copy other
nature
photos.
Is unlimited. I mean,
it is, and there's so many angles, so many places.
Cool. Let me have a quick cigarette, and then 10 more minutes or something like that. Okay,
perfect.
I do here. I press. So and we're back. It's a cold evening in Prague. Ooh. Okay, so what else? What did we?
What did you want to ask?
I still have the last question, and I don't know what else. Recommend me like Okay, so we talked about cameras. Why Canon? There is this. Let's talk about a little bit about the fight between
Canon and Nikon. Endless fight.
You are, I think, in cooperation with one of the brands, or?
Yes, we have. I have some small cooperation with guys from Canon, and thanks, Canon. Yes, and it just started with, I guess, a long time ago when I bought my first more or less professional camera. It was Canon, and after that I didn't want to switch. I loved it. And, I know photographers who switched from, I don't know, Canon to Fuji or Nikon to Sony and so on. Me, I just never had this need to switch. So I love that technology, and I tried Nikon. And I tried Sony, but I got used to Canon, and I just don't feel that I need a change. So I'm completely satisfied with Canon, but nothing against other brands. And I think it's what we talked about. It also a lot about the person who takes photos. So you can use different brands, but if you have a talent to take photos, you will have those photos with any kind of brand. So and then that's it. And I was changing cameras. Basically, I had my previous camera for a long time. I think for 7 years, and it's still working perfectly. I was expecting that maybe one day you press shutter and it makes the sound and it dies, but
it didn't.
No, it didn't, and it's still working. But I just decided to switch to mirrorless, and it was the first mirrorless camera by Canon. So I decided that it's time finally to do it. How much from a successful photo is the editing, and how much is the hunting for location and the picture taking? Let's say. Yeah, it's a tough question. Sometimes it's a lot about editing. Sometimes you take a photo which looks okay, it's nothing special, but you edit it in a way that it starts to look special. Sometimes it's the opposite, that you take great photo that doesn't really need editing much. You adjust little bits, sometimes horizons, you crop it maybe a little bit, some colors adjustment, but I try to take photos in a way that I don't need much adjustment done. But I have my way also of editing, and the good thing about current time is that there are so many tutorials on YouTube. So you can find any kind of tutorial how to adjust your photos, and you just learn how to make your photos look better. But if I scroll my Instagram account to the beginning when I started it, I still see that even I didn't really use adjustments 5-6 years ago, and those photos are cool. They're great. So.
But at the same time, if we scroll like now through the Instagram account, some of the color schemes, I can see that you're trying to get them there, no? I mean, it's clear that you have some color schemes that you like, no?
Yeah.
This kind of pastel maybe colors, this...
And I think the thing is also I started to take more photos during sunrise, sunset, so then the magenta, all those colors appeared. That's the reason. Before I was not even thinking to go and take photos at sunrise. I was traveling as a normal person, having my breakfast at hotel, and then going to hike, for example, or to the city, and taking photos. And I had nice photos, but I think maybe it's not enough anymore. So
because you mentioned, for example, that in the beginning you mentioned that some of these places, if you find a class. So one of the questions I wanted to ask is how much of it is your experience with your father, and then like you being self-taught and trying to find, or did you also while in Prague, because you're here like almost like me, 10 years or so, something like that.
More than 10 years. Yes.
So was this something that you came to when you moved to Prague and then thought, let's do this more professional and started courses? Because there's at least there's one guy who I really like, and he's got a really nice Instagram account, Efta Liao. He collects records. So now he's got a really cool Instagram with record collection. But one of the things, and that's why I know about Prague, one of the things he was playing with at one point was photos, and he was telling me about this kind of, which was interesting to me, for example, was like a walking tour of Prague for street photography, but for like graffitis and things like this. So there's a lot of things going on. If you want to like up your skill, you can.
Definitely.
But you were more of had the background, the experience somehow, and then you started studying on your own, right?
Yes. Yes, I did study on my own, but what really helped me is actually one course that I took. It's a New York Institute of Photography.
Wow, okay.
And they have online courses.
Okay.
So I chose, some time ago, I decided that I want to invest in myself. So I chose one of their courses. It was landscape and nature photography.
Okay.
And it's several parts. You have maybe 1 year to complete the whole course. You watch a lot of videos. You have some materials that you study, and then you submit some photos at the end of each module. And you have a feedback from some professional photographers. So they take your photo and they record a message to you, basically judging your photo.
Wow, that's very nice.
And that was a game changer for me, I think, because I learned so much during that course, and I just like the fact that I get feedback from well-known, established professionals. So that helped a lot. Otherwise, I mostly used open sources like YouTube. For astrophotography, I bought one course by one American astrophotographer, and he had a series of videos with some know-how, which is not really published anywhere, and that helped a lot in preparing to take photos and in post-processing as well, because for astrophotography and post-processing is a very difficult thing, and you need to learn a lot about Photoshop, for example, and I didn't really know much about Photoshop. I used Lightroom, and that course helped a lot. So maybe those two courses, but otherwise there is a lot of information online, so you can find everything, almost everything on YouTube.
So one last thing before we go is the last question, but before that, so shout out to Pavel, would be Czech Instagram, right? Czech dot this CZ Czech this place, Czech dot this dot place. Awesome landscape photography. Go follow him. Follow us on, I guess we're everywhere. So we even have Clubhouse. Nobody's following us there because we're not active. But we have TikTok. We have Instagram. Have Facebook. YouTube, of course, because they're watching on YouTube. So if you're here,
and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, comment. Okay. I guess that's about it. I stopped posting the audios on Spotify because we had no traction on Spotify. I mean, some of our episodes on YouTube have 1,000 views by now. Actually, Craig today has 970 something. So if you didn't watch the American Barber in Prague episode, that's episode number 5. So yeah, it's been 20 episodes. You've met a lot of people that we talked to, because that's what it is about. Today, this was Pavel. Amazing, amazing landscape photography. Really nice photographer. I should have asked, I'm asking you now. You do monetize some of your pictures, where they can buy your prints or so on?
Yeah, just contact me on Instagram or on Facebook. You will find my account on Instagram. From Instagram, you can find all the other.
Oh, you have Linktree on Instagram.
I have a Facebook page, but mostly Instagram. You can contact me directly. You can order any of my prints. We will agree about the size, about shipping. But website is coming soon, which is exciting. So soon there will be some portfolio on the website, some choices regarding printing options.
When is the website coming?
There is no specific date, but I hope it will be done by spring.
Okay, so for sure then episode 30 or 40, I would like you to have you back, because look, what happened today is like this. We were supposed to meet at 6:30, but there was something in Prague.
Subway.
Yeah, in the subway between 3 stations, but our destination was exactly in the middle. So we were late, and these people close now at 9, so we have like 12 minutes more, so we need to pack everything. So yeah, we didn't talk about all the places that you visited and all this kind of stuff, right? So episode 30 or 40, when you have the site launched, I will invite Pasha back, because this was a lovely conversation. I really had fun.
I enjoyed.
I didn't really notice how time was passing.
Me too,
actually,
it was
either. So hope
quick.
It's nice for you. Hope it's interesting for somebody that actually takes landscape photography as well.
Hope people learn something.
And hope it's interesting for beginners as well. Pasha gave you some directions of where to start or what is available out there and so on. So, without further ado, last question, Pasha. If you could change the world by snapping your fingers, what would you change?
If I could change the world by snapping my fingers, I would probably make people go out and explore the world out there, because it will change their mindset. It will bring them closer to nature, to their roots. Maybe will make them kinder, make them love our planet.
Yeah, planet is wonderful.
And hopefully it will make the world better.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Pavel,
for having me
here. Merchandise, bitch. And that's it. Next episode about cocaine addiction and alcohol.